Appreciate your time, Frank. This gentleman has done wonders for sim racing, the real world racers that come into sim racing or go back and forth. Frank's responsible to get some guys out on track. So without further ado, Mr. Frank Swartz, Grass Paddock Motorsports, tell us what you do.
What do we call this thing? Racing Line. I'm all out of sync. We got more people to deal with this week than what I'm used to. So thanks to my co-host, Jason, for joining us. Adam's back this week. And as you can see, we got a fourth sitting here. Megan Oversheet is already joining us to help us do some reviews and stuff. So thank you, Megan.
Let's go, Megan.
And help us. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, we're just getting ready to review the spec racers, and since we had an announcer in the waiting room, we thought we'd go ahead and bring you in.
Well, thank you very much.
There he is.
Hey, we got him.
Hey, Jason, we got you this time.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
We won't talk about the other time.
Our special guest for the evening, Mr. Dave Ogburn, and for Dave to introduce you to these two knuckleheads, you got.
Great to see you, Thor. Welcome to the fourth chair and the podcast this week.
No, thank you so much for having me. It feels surreal, like finally being able to talk to you guys. You know, I've been in this league for like 2-3 years, and finally face to face.
Yes, of course, yes.
Jeff.
I'm on the spot now, Jeff. So, welcome, Mr. Jeff Jacobson. Again. Great to have you here. Thanks for taking some time out to join us. We get to some fun part. That's why you're here, Jerry. This is our guest segment after the reviews. So thanks for sitting through with us. And
that was fun.
And
thanks.
Yeah, it's some good racing. So, well, first of all, we gotta say thank you to Trenton for taking time to come join us. He's one of the hardest working guys I know, and you can look there in the shop behind him and get an idea of what he does. So, as everybody sees, we've got Darren Ganji, and if you didn't know already, he is Mr. Sim Motion, where you can get all your sim rigs and equipment and everything. He's also the sponsor of that league we were just talking about.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Sean Ambrose, we go back forever, back to the very early beginning days of the Weekend Warriors, when it was broadcasted on another broadcast, GSRC, I don't mind saying it. Very good to us, and Sean was one of the producers, announcers, always great to talk with.
So, Mr. Edgar Sancinelli, Weekend Warrior, Frito Sport Racing. I don't know what all you do, but great to have you join us tonight, Edgar.
Yes.
I'm not saying shit. Oh, see, I literally... Whatever,
Yep,
I give up.
there you go.
I know you've had a mute for me.
Oh, for sure, yeah. When you
Yeah.
it's for the views when Adam and you were there. I mean, it's
Yeah, it's
jeez.
Oh, yeah.
And welcome everybody to episode, what is this, 26, I think, of the Raycing Line. And we've got Adam Thompson in with us, JG2, as always. Good to see you guys. And we've got our special guest in the background. Jamison, you don't have a cam, and I've got to ask you why, because I think there's a story behind why you don't have a camera.
So it's a little bit funny. I handed my camera off to somebody you may know, Morgan Burkhardt.
Yeah.
I used to stream with it, used to use it all the time, and he said he was going to start streaming. I stopped using it, so I was like, I'll just hand it off to you. And right after you asked me to come on here.
Best buddies. Jamison Huffman is our guest this week. As you just heard, Morgan Burkhardt will be next week using Jamison's camera. So appreciate that, Jamison. But we've had a fun week. We had some league races. The V's were like intense. We had a big battle with the SCCA guys coming in with the Weekend Warriors. I think Jim Brewster called it the Battle of the Worlds. And then we had a rain race with the Formula Fords. And then the surfs went crazy. So are you guys ready for some highlights? All right. JG2, take it away with our highlights.
Yep, the V's at Summit Points. We had 36 cars on the grid.
Yep.
Everyone had to get through in one of the shortest pace lap in iRacing.
Summit Point. I made it this week for a change, so it was fun. It was crazy. If I remember right, Mr. Jamison Huffman, our guest, was up in there in the front.
Yeah, I qualified, I want to say 5th or 6th, and of course my dad decided to take pole.
Yeah.
And he obviously did not share the secrets with me either.
There you go. Man, look at that. That is just
right in the middle there.
That is nuts. Yeah, JC Schooler.
Yeah,
Morgan.
JC was up front too. I think he was second next to my dad on the front row.
That was crazy. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then Morgan, we were trying to get Morgan up with us.
Yeah, Morgan got booted right there. That's you guys' home track, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Morgan and I literally grew up here.
Yeah. Second lap, I spun myself.
Looks like maybe just a loss of grip there, perhaps, or maybe the touch.
No, that's Jesus.
I didn't know we had gymnastics in Formula V.
Right? Yeah. So I got to go all the way to the back and then start working my way through.
Good battle to talk about the front of the field. Justin Huffman trying to give
some formation flying in.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was thinking about bump drafting me there.
Here we go. I don't have a good feeling about this about being completely honest, but they get through clean. Christ, I sold my first car to him. You think I'd know better than calling him 22?
Oh,
contact being made. Hang down into
Antonio.
Is that Antonio?
Yeah, Antonio and Russ.
Like Telker.
And then they kind of made it right there and couldn't get undone.
Yep. Some sort of
Russ.
Formula V.
Yeah, there they go.
Ritual there. I know. Warriors, man, only in the Formula V's as we see this snake of cars going on to that start finish.
Is that you or your dad out front?
That's me out front. My dad's car is the red and yellow.
Okay.
And then I'm the red and black. It's a Mario livery that Murphy Nichols made for me when the V's came out. It's the red shell livery.
Oh, is that the red shell?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Nice.
We used to run when Ray Esports when we had the V's in there.
Yep.
We used to be red shell, and then Murphy was green shell, and I think Morgan was blue shell.
Wow. Drivers absolutely love to spike my blood pressure. So I wouldn't rule out Jason.
This race was just total nuts up front the whole time, and poor Michelle.
Unfortunately, Michelle Lynn ended up off the road there.
Yep.
I swear, if the pack that we're right now involving John Toms, Chris Montgomery,
boys,
over.
Chris
drag race down the front here. As we're seeing, we're going all
JC
we
out
could go
front.
5 wide every lap if we wanted to. The only thing keeping these
Oh,
drivers
that's
from
me trying
not
to
going
sneak
5
in on
and
the
6 wide is their
inside.
own restraint.
Yep.
That's
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I did not know Thor was there and almost just ran right into it.
Yeah.
Thor actually runs Formula V's over in England and Japan and stuff, so he's used to running those.
Oh, he holds on to it.
That's Huffman and
Yeah, I gotta give my dad the excuse of he ran V's for 15 some odd years in SCCA. That's what he started in back in.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that. He started there instead of the FE2s and stuff, huh?
Yeah, he started in the. I want to say he got his comp license early 90s and ran V from the start all the way
Okay.
until I think 05 when they released like the prototype for the FE2 and he got one of the first kits.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I was running the spec racers back in the early 90s. So.
Involved in all this as well.
Wow. It just, I watched the replay of this thing and it just, the whole race up front was like that. It just,
These drivers come to blows. Ethan or Justin Huffman side by side into turn number 9
Yeah.
for the last time in this race. Though the final corner, turn number 10, going to be important. That run up to the line feels like forever with a race here.
corner.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, Schooler trying to get in there.
Schooler
Here we go.
the difference, go 3 wide.
Giancarlo.
Turn number 10, Ethan Orr running wide. That's going to take him out.
Oh,
Drivers running wide.
out in the dirt.
Coming right to the line. It's a photo finish. And who's
There's a
going
line,
in?
4 wide.
Tolo gets
Tor.
it
I
mean,
at the
it's a
line.
photo
Oh my
finish,
God,
so
Ron,
who
do you
that
think
was a
won?
really good one.
Every single time it's a photo
Like
finish.
right here, it could be anybody's game.
Tor
That
always
He's
wins it.
thinking the same thing. It could be anybody's
Yeah,
game here.
that's right.
He's
Every
trying
time
to
there's
play
a
this
photo
game of
finish,
chess.
Tor
Looks
is just
outside first, not
just
forward.
that
He's
much
kind of
out
a
front.
Bit of a schmozzle
After
happening
one
in front
or
of him.
like 2 or
And he
3
knows he's
times,
got
I
it
would say
at
it's
this
luck,
stage. He
but at
knows
this
he's
point,
got a really good chance here as long as he doesn't
I
get
mean,
blocked. And he doesn't.
he always
Yeah.
And it
he
looks
always
like
finds a
he's
way.
just gonna make that run
Just-
to the line fairly easily, actually, Ron. So,
Point what was
honestly,
it?
from
0.23 or
Thor's perspective
0.21?
here,
Yep.
0.21.
Sorry, 0.021.
Take a look at another
Yeah.
angle.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
pretty much JC,
We are
me,
back just in
and
time.
Ethan all finished exactly the same, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think in the sim, yeah, we had 2 ties for third,
Who's next?
or 2
Who's
cars
gonna
tied for
appear
third,
next?
and then the
Actually, I
second
will
place
have
was
Jason on the screen
0.001
here 'cause
ahead
he
of
has a
them.
different camera angle than I do.
Yeah, I want to say it
There's
was
green up in the
JC who
air.
got
Let's
second,
see,
and then me and
the
Ethan were
usual
tied.
jump maestro
Wow.
Michelle
That-
Lynn
that's
in the
just
air.
Watch it.
Point
Watch
two-
it.
Point zero
Like,
two
get
three,
it.
point zero two four.
At the end
Yeah,
of the
our
Oh man, look at these
our
cars
chat
bouncing
group's
as
helping
they
us
hit
out
the
with
ground,
this
too. I
one.
mentioned earlier on, I couldn't
Jim
tell whether
Brewster,
these cars were made out of
0.23,
tungsten or
0.24.
rubber. At the end, they're certainly made out of rubber because they bounce around like a rubber ball that you'd buy for 25 cents at a drugstore. Oh,
Good to see
boy.
everybody. Damn.
Okay, I'm gonna break up the
Brian.
the goofiness that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, and I missed the jump, sadly.
Yeah. Well, I hit the jump, but it sent me on out into Ethernet, and I didn't come back.
Well,
There you go.
There's your gaps, or your intervals,
Wow.
I should say.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had the top 13? I don't know. Well, top 15. Let's go with top 15. We're still in the lead pack.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, the top 4 separated, or top 4 separated by less than a tenth.
That is just nuts.
Yeah, no, didn't really have that one big crash that split up or gave anybody a breakaway.
Right.
And a couple groups
Everybody did.
actually were able to catch back up again. I think I was like 6 seconds back at one point, and I was able to catch up to the lead pack.
Yeah. Everybody did a
so,
fantastic job.
So yeah, Tor, obviously, spec 1. Ethan Orr takes spec 2 barely from Jamison.
They tied.
They tied. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Alan DeGasis. Alan DeGasis wins the Masters on Jim. That was a pretty close battle between him and Jim as well.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Great race to start off the weekend. Thanks, Jamison, for joining us. That was a lot of fun. You and Giancarlo, Morgan, all you guys made that one one for the books.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, There's no way we're gonna miss our home track. It's never gonna happen.
All right, here we go. I remember being part of this freaking race.
Yeah, I
This will
started
be a
from the
really good
pits
race here to
intentionally
bring
on this
in
one.
The final trio of races.
Yeah, I
from
thought
the
it would
Formula
be
40
fine. I
Weekend Warriors here
qualified
for
in
season 1
6th.
of 2025. That pace car making the turn to come down pit lane. The field now in the hands of our pole sitter of Yanchi Lin.
It
Stephen
would have
Ray
been
already
fine
down
if
pit
somebody
lane.
I thought I
didn't
was
have
going to
the
be
green
fine
flag.
too. I was on the outside. I was like, yeah,
and
we're
the
good.
drivers are on their
There we
way.
go.
And look at that
Other than the
already
start,
trying to
which
make some
screwed it
moves on
all.
is Daniel Tussin, the number 34 car.
And I kept
right
waiting
outside
for my
of
guy
Ian
to
Jordan.
flip it
Let's see
to
if he can
go,
go
and
for
I
the
waited,
double.
and I
There
was
we
like
go.
8
Oh, he's gonna
seconds,
get hung
10
out to
seconds
dry
behind
through turn
before I
number
ever
1.
started.
That's gonna
But
cause him
it
to
ended
drop
up being
down
a
to
good
fourth. Some
thing.
drivers are already going for a spin. That's Jason Green
Yeah,
around.
somebody got into
Coming
Jason.
out of turn
And there
number
goes
2.
Adam.
Multiple cars spun. Thompson
Yep.
involved in that drama as
Yep,
well.
and,
Somewhat
Adam hit
nearly
me
ending
and,
up upside down.
broke my
Daniel
rear
Tuff
wheel.
spinning off the
Yep.
circuits. We were expecting
Yep.
some
I
drama
remember
at the
he
very
couldn't
start
really
of
do
this
anything
race, but
about
as a
it.
grab on
I
the
remember
miss
coming
flies,
down through
we
those
weren't expecting
curves
that.
and everybody
And
off
we're
on
gonna
both
take a
sides
look
of the
at
track, and I
the
just kind of
mayhem
went on
the
through.
start once again and see what happened here as we're taking a look at John Toms, Chris Montgomery here on the start. And
It goes toward
they're
to the
coming through.
inside.
So far, it looks pretty clean.
It bounces off of
And I
Adam.
suspect
Yeah.
that one of them
Yeah.
gets out here on the
They're lucky with that.
Oh,
And
that's
Man.
McConnell.
Formula 4s are
Nice
very
that
one.
is
bad.
McConnell.
Certainly got it in the bucket.
What was that, Jameson?
Absolutely.
These cars, the
not
Formula
a
4s
surprise
are
at all.
very
There's just
bouncy when
complete
they
mayhem
like
up
to
and
get
down
into
the
each other.
field.
Mhm.
Dealing with the wet conditions, the traffic, everything. Not a surprise to see all this kind of this kind
Oh,
of
man.
carnage. Jason
Yeah, there's a
Green being
huge
taken
puddle
out here.
on the
Adam
inside
Thompson, we
there,
saw
and
him
Yeah.
coming into
kind
the
of
pits.
placed his car
So
right
they
on
do
the
have
edge
fast
of it.
repairs, so they're
So,
going to
just
try to
just
salvage
straight
as
into
many
him.
positions as they can.
Rain
after
has
these
really
incidents,
made
but
a
it was
difference on
absolutely
these
wild
races.
start.
Ian Joyner, your
Mhm.
current
That
race
it
leader,
has.
Yanchi Lin, dropping down
A little
to second.
frustrating.
Richard
I
Harwood
had
finds
some
himself in
pretty good
third
pace
as
in
it
the rain.
stands
Just
at the
looking forward
present
to it.
moment. So very early on in this race, but side by side with Harwood
It's
and Lin,
fine.
coming out of the
Flavio,
corner of
it's
Taylor's,
fine.
who's got back out of it by the time they head off into Duffus dip of turn number 1. Here
Yanchi
we
and
go. Ian
Richard
Joyner
battling
saying
for
the fifth
second.
lap of the race, and Richard Harwood blowing Yanchi Lin's metaphorical doors off to get the move done. But look at that, he ends up on the
God.
curve, and oh boy, both of
See,
them
I
ended
mean,
up
it
in
was
the
pretty
dirt. Harwood
squirrely out there,
going off the track, ends
figuring
up
out
in
where
the
the
dirt, and he's gonna
puddles
nose it into the
were and
barrier. I
avoiding
think that
them.
front
And
left tire is
Yep.
broken off. Richard Harwood, I think
man,
he's
look
out
at
of
that!
it.
I popped from
He's all the way back at
28th up to
16th.
14th.
Boris
First lap.
Ashman is leading the way for Spec 2, and look at
First
this
two
gaggle
laps.
of cars. There's no way
Oh,
this is going to
interlocked
work out
wheels.
clean. They're going to go side by side now, approaching the chicane.
not
They're going to
through the
sort it out
chicane.
a bit here, but I have a feeling somebody's going to get a little too greedy here on exit. Maybe spin around, and
You
so far,
touched
so good.
that
Oh,
chicane?
They
God,
are
yeah.
still
Don't do
battling
it.
as they make
Don't
their
do
way
it.
up to Clark.
It's like
the
three-
contact here, almost guaranteed.
There it
and
goes.
there it goes.
Yep.
Contact, and that's going to get Harwood
3 or
involved
4
as well.
times coming
So
out of that
Harwood, after having
chicane,
a
I ended up
really
going a little
great
wide and
start
just
and a
touching
really
the paint
good
and would
qualifying,
spin.
himself in
Yep.
Yep.
trouble once again, all
And
the way
so
down
many
to
other
21st
people did
position.
too.
He's currently
That
21
chicane
seconds from
and
Garcia
going a little
and
wide
Yanchi
coming
Lin
out
side
of
by
it,
side.
and you
He's
were
heading
gone.
down the railway straight away through the long meandering corner of turn number 8. Now
The,
into the final
Flavio
corner of
goes
turn
straight.
number 9. Let's see.
Yeah.
Getting that move done through the braking zone into that hairpin.
Dan wondering what
Taylor's
percentage of our race has been in the
and
rain
Logan
for the
wiggly
Formula
through the braking
Fords,
zone.
and yeah, I've got it probably 50% or more.
Yeah, Ron in here saying credit to Jason for being able to put together a highlight reel that isn't just the length of the whole broadcast.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, and to give it credence, most of the races this season with the Formula Ford, there it is, the paint coming out of the chicane.
Yeah.
That's it. Have been in the UK, and the UK is kind of known for being wet. So,
UK
and
the winter.
like, yep, and like I've always said, I look at the forecast for that venue on Sunday, and whatever it is, that's what you're going to get. And more than likely, it's been rain this season.
Away from Chris Montgomery.
Battle for the S2 one right here.
Espen, this
Boris
will be
and Chris.
a really good performance.
Yeah,
if he's able to
yeah.
pull this off. Already coming to the
JG1
pits
asking. I
twice
heard that
in
too. I
this
wasn't gonna
race,
mention it,
which
but Ron's
doesn't take a
voice went
rocket
up about
scientist
5
to know that's one more
octaves.
time than
Yeah.
it used to
Yep.
do, but look at that. That's some close quarter stuff. Hang down the railway straight away through turn number 8 into Taylor's of turn
Did
number 9 for
Boris.
one of the last times in this race. Espen
Yeah.
trying to get that move done around the outside, but he goes a
Little
little
too
bit
much.
deep, ends up in the
Fine.
gravel on his side.
No, I can't control the weather, Jim. It's whatever Mother Nature gives us. That's what I put out. It's not me.
Well, there's a slide.
Go Soren Garrett and Tortolo.
We're moving
They
up to
swapped
fourth.
the Roo, and then they swapped the Roo yet again as Soren Garrett nearly swapped ends heading through turn number 7. That's going to allow Yanchi Lin to get involved.
I want to shout out Jorg as well. The guy was
of
involved
action
in
here
that
at Knock Hill for the
wreck
Final
at the
Four
beginning,
Weekend Warriors.
and
That's
he's
gonna
up
give
in
him
7th
a,
place with the
pretty
closest
good cause
master.
for celebration.
A
Going into
lap
the next
down
race
in
at
13th,
Zolder
and that's
in 1
Stevie.
week's time
So
as
that's
Soren
He
Garrett
had
spins
to,
coming
he had
out
to
of the
pit for
chicane
damage
section.
as well on that
Oh, be
one.
careful
Yeah.
where he joined there. We nearly just saw an on-screen
Oh, that's
fatality.
Ian getting
of
lucky
your
on the last
leader,
lap there,
no,
or almost
no
killed
less.
him.
Holy cow, that could have ended an absolute disaster for Ian Joyner, the driver of the number 8. It's not going to be his 8th win. It's just going to be his
Ian
7th.
was just
Only
on
7
another
wins
level.
in
He
10
has
races.
been
It's
most
over
of the
for a run
season.
for Joyner,
It's crazy.
and this is going to do him
Yeah, we may need to do what SRG does and have the alien class and
Right.
put him
only
up in
4
it.
cars are going to finish on the lead lap. So
Yeah,
not only
what,
that,
4 or
1/3
5 on the
of
lead
race
lap?
did not-
Everybody else
1/3
was
of the
at
drivers
least
did
a
not
lap
see
down.
the checker
Yep.
flag of this race after
Yep,
starting.
shout out to Ian
See
and
Kevin
Juan
Adrian now
and
gonna
Yeah.
Kevin as
come
well.
home
Another great
Oh,
race
Kevin.
from him.
Yep.
ends up taking the checkered flag
And
in
then
spec 2.
Yanchi
They
in
are now
P4,
joined
Toro
by Adam
P5.
Thompson, who didn't have a fuel
I think
management
another good
problem
way is you
today.
just
Go for it.
Just didn't
sneak
quite
some
make it to
ballast into
turn
that
3.
car, and it should
Just
be
Mr. Thompson. God damn it. Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Got 'em.
iRacing doesn't let me do it by car or driver. It's just by class or whatever. So
Yep.
that would be a good thing to do with some of our aliens, is to put a little extra weight on them, but can't do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And by the way,
There-
Ron, you're still sitting here in chat. Got you, buddy. Again, you're welcome.
Yeah.
He didn't think
Yeah.
I don't think he thought I was going to get him that time. I thought they thought I was coming in to actually talk about me wrecking out of that race, but nope. So yeah,
There you go.
Ian won by 25 seconds, and
Wow.
Jorg again coming out of nowhere, had to pit first lap with damage. Ended up finishing 7th. Good job, Stevie. 2nd in class as well. I think that was a race of attrition, to say the least.
Yeah.
Boris Essman.
More than anything.
Yep, let's go, Boris.
Yeah.
Boris and I
Boris.
did some training earlier in the week. Although we trained in the dry, so it didn't really help at all.
Yeah.
for this race. But yeah, let's go, Boris. Shouted him out last week to say that he was improving a lot, and looks like he's gonna try to make a charge here at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Absolutely. Oh, yay, another fun race we had here.
Welcome, Michelle. Good morning.
The best way imaginable. That pace car.
All right, here we go. VIR and the serves.
Crawling their way down that start finish.
Another
the green
draft
flag
track.
because that, and the drivers are on their way. And it's Samoa's
And
getting
again,
off to a
with the
flyer.
start.
Josh Arnold going to be slipping in P2,
Yeah.
trying to fend off a challenge
Yeah, we,
from Sol Al
I
Shutway and
thought
Yanchi
Troy
Lin
started
right
the,
behind. Look at some
just
drivers trying to
mistake
get
in his
some
part.
moves done. Look at that down
But,
the inside.
Turn 1 of
into
VIR
turn number 1. That was a
always seems to
199
get
Jamison
somebody.
Huffman,
Yep.
a real life
not
Formula
today.
Enterprise driver has some experience running
We actually
around
made
this
it through
track,
turn 1.
looking to make
Yep.
hay while the sun is shining.
I think that's
very
the second
early
or
on,
third
but as
time in a
the
row
field
that we've
negotiates their
Yeah.
way
not
through
had
the
any
opening
issues at
corners.
turn
It is
1
still Felix Samoa's leading
until they
this
jinx it
race,
for next
and a
season.
decent chunk of the field getting through the opening corners clean. Hopefully, I didn't just jinx it
Jamison.
though.
Where's
Felix
Jamison?
Samoa's and,
Who's, passing me in that
and
corner.
Josh Arnold looking to break
Right
away
next
as
to
we
you
see
there.
some side-by-side 3-wide action coming
I-
down
I'm
the roller
surprised there
coaster
was no
corner.
contact
Holy
Actually,
cow,
coming
that
out of
is
roller
terrifying.
coaster.
Let's take a look at a moment to see
Go
Andrew
back to
Love.
5 seconds, Adam. Let's watch that again.
Right about here.
A little further back.
Jameson is
So,
in the.
Yeah, right there.
I'm in the
So,
black and red
Hopefully-
car. I've
hopefully I
got
didn't just
eyeballs
jinx
on
it.
my front and hello.
Oh, okay.
Samoa's and,
What- look at the car,
and Josh Arnold
the
looking to
reddish
break
car.
away as we see
Yep,
some
right in the
solid
middle.
3-wide action coming out
Right
of
through the
roller
middle.
coaster corner.
Wow.
Holy
What
cow,
a
that is
move.
terrifying. Let's take a look at a moment to see Andrew Love in the 544. That shot
Up on the outside of-
Oh,
turn number
yep.
1.
I saw that
He
one.
gets
That
bumped
one scared
off.
me a
That
little
right
bit.
there, I believe, was
Poor Andrew.
Tortolo and the number 90 Cookie Monster car.
We always say
The Cookie
Michelle
Monster
has
leaving
bad
some
luck
crumbs
with
around turn
Angels,
1.
but Andrew is
Leva
on
finds himself in the
yep.
midst
as well
of
as that
real
on a
peck
kind of an
trouble
unlucky
here.
streak.
Here we go.
Yep.
Huffman trying to get the move done on Pleva. Jason Green looking to get the move done just at the fastest lap of the race last time by at 202.2. But here we go. 2 by 2 heading through turn number 1. Look at that, Michael Odell in the 297 car, the real-life Spec Racer Ford driver, trying to get a move done on the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warrior star of Alays Pleva.
But in the meantime, Samoz and Arnold have driven off into the veritable sunset. Now that gap is absolutely massive,
That's such a
nearly
cool
2.5
paint job
seconds.
Arnold had on.
Not really the drama that we were expecting at the start. It's exciting, don't get me wrong, but I was
blame
fully
Ron for this.
expecting there to be some
Yep.
sort of field clearing accident, which we really
Yeah,
have not
Odell's,
sort of scraping
Jim
going on.
Brewster's
We've seen
Odell's
Sabine to the
fast
front
too. He's
of Jamison Huffman's car.
he's
She's
coming
been
up,
going off the
getting
track,
better
heading
every
down
week.
into NASCAR Bend. That's got to be
and
big
being
on
a
the
real
track.
world Spec Racer
We see
driver, that's
Alays
pretty
Pleva
cool to
and
see.
Jamison Huffman there, kind of side by side, and a big checkup there out
Racing
of
with
Alays
one
Pleva.
of my
Looking
my
through
favorite
with
groups, the
field
Alliance
as it
group.
stands currently, and seeing a side-by-side fight.
Yeah,
with,
that
Daniel
was-
Manikov and Adam Thompson. Oh, look
Yeah.
at that, Manikov.
I tried to
breaking
pull
at
the
the
York
elbow,
special
heading
there
to
through the S's.
S's,
It
and
didn't work.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
we
No, it
saw a
didn't.
collision with Montgomery and Thompson.
Daniel Manikov coming through a roller coaster, and he
I
had a
don't
car go
know.
off right in front of
Goodbye.
him. Doesn't affect him at
Yep.
all, but this is definitely going to be a scary moment.
I almost did that a
Adam
few
Thompson
times.
spins off
Coming
on his
across,
own
shortcut.
there, and
Don't
he's
mind
going
me.
for a bit of an
Do, do,
excursion
do, do,
here,
do, do.
trying to find the track.
I've actually
Shortcut.
gotten to do that
Track
shortcut in
map.
real life before. That was a
Felix
fun run.
Samoz
in
now
real
coming
life.
on the front straight.
Were you in the
and keeping
FE2
our
then?
eyes towards that pit
No, I
exit.
was in
Who's
the
gonna come out in the
SSM
lead?
car,
Oh, okay.
the blue
Michael
SSM
Dell
car.
are
I
well away, but
was,
are they
I think it
gonna be able
was,
to
I want to say it
rejoin?
was qualifying or the
Speed?
final
No,
run
they
of
are
practice
not.
day,
Felix Samoz
and
gonna
I went
regain
really
the lead
deep
of
on the
this
brakes
race.
on a
Alays
roller
Pleva in
coaster.
second, Jamison
I
Huffman
tried to
in
downshift in the
place.
third, and the car just cut
Yanchi
off.
Lin gonna slide
Oh.
in fourth.
The
Michael
car
Dell
shut
gonna
off
slide in fifth,
completely,
and
no
that
electric,
gap
no nothing.
has come
Got it
down. That was
all the way
2.5
halfway
seconds,
up
is
into
now
the pit lane because the
1.2
pit lane
seconds. So
swoops
Alays
back
Pleva
up,
needs to
Yep.
get on
and
it here. If
all
the
my
gap is
momentum
what it
died
is
right
now,
there,
we
so I
should
was
see it get
stuck
much
in the
smaller
pit
and much
lane.
quicker. So Samoz's gonna have
And we
his
found out
hands
the
full
reason
soon. He's gonna have
is
his hands full even
the
sooner. He's
wire
got Patrick
running
Farragher
to
in
the
front of him.
dash
He would
that
have hoped
pulls
to-
RPM
would have
and
hoped to
signal
have
and
gotten that
everything
on the back straight to get a bit of
just
slipstream,
got
but
undone,
right
so
now
it
he's
lost
kind of
all
gonna be
power and
stuck
shut everything
unless
off.
Farragher can manage to get out of the way on the run up to Oak Tree. But
So
here,
you're
Samoz
running
now, he's gonna be held up
second at this
huge
point,
by this
trying to
traffic
chase down
jam.
Felix.
Sliding through South
Oh.
Hill, and a big
Felix
checkup
goes
is
wide. Here
damage
comes
to
Jamison.
Samoz.
Whoa,
And
here
that's
we
gonna
go.
make him
Yeah, that was-
lose the lead.
Well, that was
And
thanks to
Alice.
that car.
Here
Yep.
comes
Play
Jamison
was right
Huffman
there
gonna
too.
Get that spot, and boy, Samoz probably.
Yeah, it
good
came
that we
out,
can't see the
I want to
cockpit of
say
that
right
car.
in
He's
front of
probably giving
Felix,
some
and
quite
then,
rude hand gestures
like
to
I said
Farragher
earlier,
as he
my
makes his
front
way
tires
back.
had no temp, so I went to turn for turn one, and
Yep.
didn't end up turning.
In a few moments time, let's see if Samoa's with
Oh,
that
boy.
slightly dented
Here we
Spec
go.
Racer Ford will be able to get that move done. Looks like Yanchi going to hold on to the inside line into roller coaster.
Good battle up
Meanwhile,
front.
Huffman and Odell side by side.
Mhm,
Two
it was a really
real-life
tight fight up
racers in
there.
the SCCA giving us a good battle to talk about for the final podium spot. Odell on track for a Spec 2 win as he has to go back to one.
Yeah, Jameson and Michael, both SCCA drivers. Oh, there goes
He
Felix.
keeps it going in a
Yep.
straight line, but he ends up off in the dirt. That's going to take him out of that battle. It's now Yanchi Lin and Jamison Huffman running P1 and P2. They're on this start-finish straightaway for the second to last time. The white flag in the air, Barry waving it. Only
Have you
one more lap
raced
of race
the
action here from the
yeah,
Spec
you've
Racer
raced the
Fords.
Spec Racer
Jason
Ford
Green,
in
though,
real life, haven't
he's
you,
coming to the
Jameson?
pits.
I
What's
have
going on with the
not.
drummer
Morgan
on the
has
60
though.
car? We may
Okay.
have to touch
Yeah,
on
I was
that in a
thinking
couple
you
moments.
had,
Look at
but-
that, Alays Pleva down the
I
inside of
really
Yanchi
want
Lin
to.
into
I've
turn
talked
number
about
one.
it,
Huffman and
but
Odell side by side through one as
the
well.
money
Look
to
at
rent one of
Martinez
them
in
are
that
just
44 car,
Yeah.
running right
a little out of
behind.
my budget,
He's
to be
gonna be
honest.
sneaky in the back of shot. He doesn't
Yeah,
want
I'd-
to risk it
I'd
for the
love to
biscuit.
run
He's
one of
been
these
in a
cars in real
situation
life.
like this before.
Oh,
He's
they're
won
just
these races
it's-
before.
the,
And
well,
let's
you
see
know,
if
the
he's gonna be
competition
able
is
to
just so
pounce and
hot
strike
in
while
those
the iron
things
is
in
hot
real
to
life.
find himself in the race.
Just
Oh, yeah,
Who's
the-
gonna have the
crazy.
best run? Yanchi Lin.
The
Who's gonna
competition
be
is
sitting
great
duck?
in them. I mean,
Who's gonna
there's
pull
no
out
shortage
first?
of fast
Let's
drivers
see,
in that
heading
field.
down
so.
this back straightaway. Looks like Odell.
And I like how
trying
you
to
can
pull
really
off
race
a
close
dummy,
with
but
them
they're
too.
gonna be following Jamison Huffman.
Well,
the
oh,
shot
look at
there,
that.
Alex.
Pleva trying to
Look
get
at
that move done, making it
Alex,
3-1.
Michael
Yanchi
Odell
stuck on the
pushing
outside.
Alish to the
Contact
front.
Yeah.
made. Oh boy, that could have ended in
Anderson
tears.
trying.
A
Oh,
bit long
work.
contact being made with Pleva and Huffman. That's a
And
close quarter
there
stuff
goes the
heading
fuel
up
cut.
into the roller
Oh,
coaster.
you
Zelly
lost
made
it right
3-1
there.
action. Look at the
Yep.
Zelly gang
Right
involved
there
on
is
that
when it
as
started
well.
the fuel
With
cut.
all that side by side, beating and
Maurizio
banging and
was
roughing
in
each other up. That's
fifth,
gonna leave Odell's really the only one that can
start out of
challenge
Oak Tree.
Pleva. It's a
Yep.
6/10 of a second.
There
you
away.
go.
Final turn to Zelly,
Michael was
having a good run.
sputtering
Huffman
as
out of
well.
gas. That's gonna take him out of it. But at the front of the field, a lace Pleva in the number 46 car going
Wow.
to
Go,
another win
Alish.
here for
What
the
the
back racer
finish.
forward, Weekend Warriors. He
I
wins
think
it here at
that's
VIR
his
in
second
a really
or
close battle right to the line.
second or third win
Well,
at
Huffman was
VIR.
running
So
out of
Alish
fuel
is
all the
definitely
way
a
out from
VIR
roller
master.
coaster, and that's
Oh,
why
yeah.
we saw a lot of beating and banging as he was trying to retain as many spots as he could and trying to make that spec racer forward wide. He was out of
Yeah,
fuel.
Michelle,
and
you
Michael
got it.
Odell comes home in third place overall.
Michelle
first
called
place in
it.
the Spec 2
Thompson
division,
Trophy for
and
Jamison
what a race out
Huffman.
of him. York Manning going to win
I mean,
the
he made it to
Masters
the line.
division. And an
He did.
exciting
That's
Yeah,
the
but
thing.
he was
Everyone
still.
made it.
Really exciting.
He
day
made it to the
of
line.
racing action. That or it's the fact that I've done 4 broadcasts.
Oh,
I remember that.
wow,
Everyone's.
okay, that's
I think there
Josh
was a.
Arnold
I
that
don't
just
think
spun in the path of
he knew
Jason
that
Green.
This is what Ethan,
everyone
we're gonna
was
lead
lining
way
up for the
this
jump.
group. We're going to see
Mm-hmm.
Rain Tyson try to make the jump. And
Rain
he's gonna get a
Tyson,
good dose of air
new
out of
driver,
that
his
car.
first race with us.
Turtled in
Yeah.
the infield, and I gotta say, oh boy, that is a very funky looking race car. That's Daniel
Almost looks like a
Maniacal
radical.
It
without
does.
a front end or a back end.
Alish,
Yeah.
or Alish with the late charge there. Somebody ran out of fuel. I think he's in the chat right now, which probably didn't help Jamison's case at all. But yeah, Michael Odell, again, Spec 2, just hauling up there, third place overall. And again, York, the janitor, dude, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. What about Monty? I mean, and this guy, I wanted to shout him out as well because first of all, he lives in Switzerland, and he did the 12-hour race with us as well in Bathurst.
Yep.
And woke up and took about 3 hours of sleep, woke up and won both the FFs and the SRFs. So good job to Monty, man. That's very, very awesome.
Yep. Let's go, Monty.
Who else? Chris Murakami. I haven't seen his name for a while, but Chris was there in 9th place, top 10, obviously. Josh Arnold with the top 10.
Daniil Manikoff
Manikoff
rejoined us.
up there.
Haven't
11.
seen him. Yep. He's one of the old-time Weekend Warriors. Came back a couple of times earlier this season, so good to see him.
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
I'm
if I
getting
can-
absolutely destroyed in the chat right now.
What's that?
Yeah.
I'm getting absolutely destroyed in the chat right now. So yeah, I got to drive through.
100%.
Had the 4X from Alish. Monty gave me a 4X while bump drafting, and then yeah, had 5 off tracks.
Yeah.
So for the 13X. So yeah, not ideal.
All right. Let's see if I can share some points. Yeah. I'm locked up. It locked up on me.
Uh-oh. Insert Jeopardy theme music here.
Yeah,
Elevator
yeah.
music.
What
Jason, can
the
you sing
heck's
for
going
us?
on? The heck's
You don't want
going
me
on?
to sing.
I may be gone and back.
And bye.
Well, that's a great picture we got of you, though, Stevie.
Yeah.
Somebody screenshot that. Somebody make that
No,
Stevie's, Stevie's
no.
profile.
Yeah, no. What the heck is going on? I don't have any control over nothing. I may have to reboot, guys. I'm like
Okay,
dead in
here
the
we go.
water.
You got it.
Okay.
Here we go.
And
Oh, who got that? Is that Jason? Yeah, that's Jason.
yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I think we got this, Stevie. If you got a reboot, man, we're here.
Right.
But yeah, obviously, standings after round 10. Tor, again, came seemingly out of nowhere to take that win at the finish. And yeah, Jason Green sitting back at 726. Jason, I don't think you got a chance, man.
Nope, no chance.
So-
I've used up all my drop leaks, I think. And yeah, it's the last couple tracks are I'm pretty quick at, but yeah, needed a way better finish than 10th at some point, for sure. So I think Tor's got it, but we'll see. I haven't actually done the math yet. I don't know if he's looked into it, but yeah, let me know, Tor.
Yeah, absolutely. Nate Coliseo sitting back there in 4th. Jorg Monty, looking down there, I'm looking across. He's still winning everything across the board, but he's not in first place anymore overall. So I think Tor got that first place back there from Monty. But yeah, Andrew Love winning right now, and like Michelle did mention about Andrew maybe putting on a late season charge, and that is happening very well. Michelle got struck by the anvil. So I think what's happening, Michelle, is every time you've been getting struck by an anvil this season, it's when you're sponsoring the races and when we put the anvil on the broadcast. So I'm not
100%. I mean, I mentioned to her before the race, I was like, Michelle, why do you sponsor the races that you're most likely to get anviled at?
Exactly.
Like
100%.
Lime Rock, Summit Point. Not to say that she shouldn't keep sponsoring the races because,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's amazing to have those races broadcast. So love you, Michelle.
Yeah, and another guy sitting back there third in the points in S2 is a man that
who let him on the...
So Dan's still sitting back there in third place, which is pretty impressive, Dan. I don't know how you're doing. I don't know, are you like driving with one hand or what, dude? Like
seems like he is getting faster.
Yeah, I think he is.
And that's not how that's supposed to work. So again, he needs to share. You need to pick his brain, Adam.
Yeah, he's been sending me some tips already through Discord. So, but not the tips that I want. I want to know how you're driving so fast with the brand new kid, Dan. That's the question I've got. But obviously, Jim Brewster, congrats, up into P2 now, holding that down pretty strong. Nick Tulo back there in third, but doesn't really look like Nick's got really a chance here because we've only got 2 more weeks. So this is really it, I think, in the Masters class. So I'm gonna say it now. I should be able to say it now. Congrats, Jorg and Jim, I believe, on those two. I think everything else is pretty close though.
Yeah.
Ian Joyner running away with it, 875 points. I'm pretty sure that's max, right?
Yeah. Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. So Formula Fords got Ian Joyner running away. Kevin Adrian in second. That is a battle that I did not think was that close though between Kevin and Michael.
Yep. Yeah, and I think
Stevie's back.
I hope you picked that up in the
right
on the stream. But yeah, I think, and I forget how many points I had, but I think I am right behind them as well. Michael and I were pretty close, so yeah, this should be a three-way battle, I think, between myself, Kevin, and Michael. So yeah, that should be fun. Last couple races.
Yeah.
Then Spec 2, let's go Boris. That's close.
It is.
Boris at 503, Jeff at 498, Bill at 478. They're all having great seasons. So yeah, that'll be a fun one to follow last couple weeks as well.
Jorg.
And then yeah, more money's kind of gone.
Yeah, congrats on your championship, Jorg. For all three, I think the Janitors cleaned up the season in all three Masters divisions here. So yeah, Jorg, Monty, Stevie's here, but yeah, Jorg, Monty with 825, John Toms 477, and Jim Brewster sitting back there in third, still sitting on the podium after round 10 for the Formula Fords in the Masters class as well. So Jim's hanging in there. Jim wasn't at the last week's race, was he? So that's going to be a drop for Jim. So, but yeah, congrats, Jim.
He was getting a new car.
That's right.
Okay, that's right. Yes, we talked about that in XSLR actually. So, yes, but on to the Spec Racers. Felix Amos still holding on to first. Barely. That one's kind of close. That's a closer one than the FVs are, Jason.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And I was faster than Felix at Cadwell on Monday. I don't expect that to hold though. Especially I was bullying him a little bit during faux speed, so probably motivated him a little too much, I think. To pick up the pace at Cadwell, so I'm sure it'll be fun. Had a good battle with Austin Winter at the SOF race last night, so yeah, that race should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan Witzak winning Spec 2 right now, and once this comes off the screen, sorry guys, don't mind me doing things so nobody can see, but there we go. Dan Witzak with 550, Ben Rycroft 533. Driver we haven't really talked about much this season. Doesn't really get covered that much either in the broadcast, but just very sneakily sitting there in second place. Andrew Love again, sitting in third right now too, for the Spec 2.
With only 450 points, he's got some drop weeks in there. So yeah, I think that's still anybody's championship to take.
Yeah, 100%. Yorgmani, again, we already talked about him. Brad Cathcart, pretty comfortable right now to Tom Gradwell. Look at the difference in points there between 500 and 438, by the way. 7th to 17th, so that's a very close championship still, all the way up and down that field.
Yep. Also, shout out to Brad, one of my teammates for Bathurst 12 Hour.
Yeah, another one in the 12 hour as well. So had a few actual drivers do pull double duty. Yourself, Jason, Brad Cathcart, JG1, Jason Greider was running with you as well. I had Jorg on my team. And then we had not a weekend warrior, but we had a Ray Esports, a club racer there. Gosh, what was his name, Jason? Help me out here.
Jake Schilling.
Yep, Jake Schilling was on one of the teams as well. So we had a bunch of weekend warriors hop in.
Yeah, it was JG1, Carrie, and Jake.
Yep.
And then myself, Brad, and Sewell Elshugby.
Oh yeah, Sewell, another one that runs over the weekend sometimes.
Sewell carried us. He was absolutely flying in the rain. So yeah, shout out to him as well.
And while we're doing this, we can talk about one more thing here, Stevie. While we're doing the thing,
yeah.
There it is. So, XSLR was this weekend as well. I know it's a little bit tougher to read, but Adam Thompson, myself, and Jake Ham. Jake won on Sunday night, so we're sitting 2 points apart right now for the championship. There's a guy back there in third though that has only been driving 410s for a couple weeks now.
Watch out! Yep. Watch out!
Keep getting lucky.
Yeah, sitting in third place, Jamie Howitt in fourth, and Andy Cossack rounding out the top five there. Michelle Lynn, I mean, look at all these drivers. Ethan Orr, Stevie in eighth. Jim Brewster showed up this week, by the way, and he's already sitting in 10th place in the standings. So he had a pretty good turnout. Yep. Jason Greider needs to learn a little bit in the 410s, I think. But yeah, we got a bunch of drivers in there. So that should be a fun season as well. So I want to keep track of those points if that's okay with you, Stevie, as well.
Yeah, not a problem. And Dan's asking, I think the Ray Sports Club League is at Road Atlanta tomorrow, and it's Group 3, which is the Spec Racer Fords and Formula Vs.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's
a very fun combo right there.
Yeah. There's the points. We had GT4s last week, and that race tightened up quite a bit. Michelle Squire up top, Will Pierre, Miles Crabb, tightening it up in the GT4. Will Pierre is one of the Sim Motion team drivers. Michelle has just been kicking butt. You can see her over in the SMX, the Spec Miatas, taking the lead there. Weekend Warriors, Josh Justice up on top of the Formula Vs and second in the SRFs. Nick Rice-Puto is one of the real-world SRF drivers and leading the points there. Brad Cathcart, our Aussie, is tied with Joshua down there.
Brad.
So, yeah, Andrew Love in the Formula Vs as well. So that's going to be a fun one tomorrow night.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, people talking crap about the 410s at Kokomo. Yeah, that's not going to be a track that's going to be well for anybody that hasn't practiced it. But with that being said, there is a video in the XSLR Discord that anybody wants to watch, and they actually do run there. And it's crazy to say the least. So, but yeah, it's definitely
the right line.
Huh?
Right, Adam? You were giving me crap. It's like, what line are you running, Jason? I'm like, it's working. I don't know what to tell you. And we watched the professionals do it, and they were running that line.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yep.
You're right,
Yep.
Jason. Like normal.
Just completely accidentally picking the dumbest line on the track. Pick the right one.
Yeah.
Just follow Jason, and you got it made.
Exactly.
Well, don't do that before 10s.
Yeah.
Don't get them before 10s. That's a bad idea.
So if I outscore you by 15 at Cadwell, he clinches it. That was from Tortello, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
there's your answer, Jason, for the FVs.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. Thanks for the reviews and all the highlights, JG. Once again, you're the man with that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We get to our guest segment, the second half, and it's kind of running along tonight, but that's okay. Like I told Jamison earlier and all my guests, I like to start off with where and how did you get started in sim racing? And then we'll just take it from there with sim and real world and everything. And I know these guys will have some questions and our chat group will have some questions, but how and where did you get started sim racing, Jamison?
Well, like how pretty much everything started. It started with my dad. He had a sim set up when he was going to Sonoma back in, I want to say the 2017 runoffs for FE2. And I saw him practicing on it one day. And I was like, man, that looks fun. I want to go do that when I was, 10 years old, maybe.
Well, I was going to say 12 or something.
But I saw him doing that and he let me get it, let me go run it. I think I was probably 20 seconds off of him when I ran it. But I still had fun, and that kind of just sparked something in me for sim racing. And I've been go-karting a little bit before that. We started probably when I was about 5 and did it kind of on and off here and there, some oval track stuff. But that kind of really kicked it. And as soon as COVID rolled around in 2020, we instantly got a sim set up, and that's what I was doing with Morgan for basically a whole year from 2020 to 2021.
So did you and your dad have separate sim setups?
For the start of 2020, we shared one. And a little bit into 2020, we realized we have so much time on our hands, this isn't going to work if we're sharing one.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up getting 2 and basically put them right next to each other. So if one of us takes this out, and we're right next to each other.
Smack. That's when, was that when you were doing the SCCA Esports League?
Yeah, pretty much right when we started, we were doing SCCA Esports, we were doing the WDCR League, and your league as well.
Awesome. So when did that morph into real world?
Real World was planned on starting in, I think 2021 is when we planned on trying to do Cars Real World. And that ended up getting delayed just because of COVID and everything. So,
yeah.
But we started 2023, got a car at the end of 2022, a blue car that hasn't run in 8 or 9 years. And it last was used at, I think it was a 3-hour enduro out at VIR. Was the last time it ran on a racetrack back in 2012, I want to say. And then it was just a street car, and fixed it up, did a few things on it, and ran the school in 2023 with Morgan and Deacon.
Awesome. Let's see. I don't have the picture. There we go. I do have the pictures. I don't know if I can share it. Can you guys do that? My stuff is all screwed up still.
Absolutely can. So we'll go ahead and do that.
And Jim, to answer your question, no, Morgan is not my brother. I've known him for way too long that somebody should know Morgan, but
So here we go.
Started preschool together.
So here's some pictures we got. Obviously, I'm looking here, and it's a bit of a smaller screen. I can actually make this.
That is the four amigos from the SCCA group. Yeah, Morgan, Jamison, JC, and Murphy. No, I mean not JC.
That's Deacon and Murphy.
Deacon, yeah, Deacon.
So yeah, Greg. I know that guy.
Your dad. Yeah, your dad and Greg Ginsburg.
And then my dad.
Yeah, that's an awesome picture. I love that. There's your blue Miata you were talking about.
Yep, that was the blue SSM car. That was getting second place at New Jersey Motorsports Park this season actually.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
That was my third podium ever in SSM.
Did you run the? I think they've got New Jersey as a what do they call the track in iRacing? Is
I think we've got Thunderbolt in iRacing. Although it's a very, very old Thunderbolt, but it is Thunderbolt.
New Jersey's in there as well.
Yeah.
I don't recommend purchasing it because it's awful. So I was just about to ask how is driving that track in real life, because in iRacing it's
yeah, it's rough.
horrible.
Tech track. There you go, Jim.
Life, it's very fun in real life.
Yeah.
On the sim, no.
Yeah.
Is it the same layout in real life as it is?
It is the same layout, but it's a lot more detailed. There's a lot more that you can use.
Gotcha. How do you drive the last sector?
A lot of throttle. A lot of hoping it sticks through the corners.
Yeah.
That's really a lot of how you drive it. Is you kind of drive it in tight through the octopus.
Yeah.
And it did change a little bit since they just repaved it. I haven't been there since the repave, but I've heard there's a lot of lines you can use now through the octopus. But it used to be run it in really tight, slam on the brakes, hook it to the right, basically get up on the curbing, and then hook it back to the left, and don't get on the curbing, but have your wheel basically right next to it the whole way through there, and just try and get on the throttle early.
Yeah. I think Trent and I were running the Porsche Cup around there, and I don't recommend. That was a horrible experience, especially that last sector. It's because for those of you that don't know that track, it's pretty much just a big never-ending corner. The last 2 or 3 corners. It's the longest corner in all of track.
It feels like you're doing a 720 even in real life.
Yeah.
You got a question in the chat, Jamison. Jim Brewster's asking if you could explain the SSM versus the SM to the non-summit people, the people that aren't real familiar with the Spec Miatas.
So SSM it's a regional classing inside of SCCA. Most regions have it and have slightly different rules on the cars, but at least for the Washington DC region, they're basically the 1.6 NA Miatas. They're held super tight. We're all dynoed to 107 horsepower max, and I want to say 96 or 97 foot-pounds of torque, and that's the absolute peak we can have.
Okay.
And we're on a little bit more crude setup of shocks, and pretty much just brake pads is all we got. But it's really just more spec Miata.
Oh,
A little
okay.
bit slower too. We're about a second or two slower around Summit Point, and we're also on the Toyo RRs now. We were on the RA1s up until this season.
And do you plan to make a runoffs run this year?
There's no runoffs run on the plans, especially this year. Maybe next year, but probably not, because we're going back to Road America now again. So
yeah, just saw that.
If it comes back to VIR, I'd like to, but right now it's not really in our cards. So
okay.
So that's
Look at
JC.
that picture. No, that's Deacon.
Not.
That's
Okay.
Deacon.
That's Deacon.
Got it.
So that was the banquets for the 2020 or 2024 season.
Yeah.
Or no, that was the banquet for the 2023 season. I get my mind mixed up.
Deacon is another one that ran with us in the SCCA league, the Ray Esports, and has gone on and done some real world. His dad, was he a colonel in the Air Force or something?
Wow.
He was an Air Force officer, from what I remember.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Deacon's a pretty good kid.
That don't look good.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's not the fun thing of racing. It's not the fun part that you like to see.
Yeah.
But it's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, we talk about this all the time in iRacing. Is it's crazy, the difference in racecraft, because you don't have to fix your shit in iRacing like you guys do. You actually got to pay for all this.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
So that crash I think is putting us about 4,000 in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it needs a whole front clip. The passenger shock tower is 1.5 inches closer to the firewall than it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So we got to rebuild a whole front clip on that thing, and then hopefully it'll be back up and running, and we may rent it out some.
What happened?
Watkins Glen happened.
Okay.
We were running at Watkins Glen, had really good pace. That was the first weekend we were allowed to use the RRs, and I was still running RA1s, so I was a little bit slower, but still running good pace. Was in the fight for second, and coming to checkered, when you come back onto the main course after running the boot, the car in front of me went wide, messed up his turn-in, went wide, got the wall, and the wall spat him right back out, perfectly perpendicular to the track, and I hit him at 60.
Well, I mean, we were talking about that at VIR actually this weekend, Jason. Going into roller coaster, if you get off there, you come back. If you hit that wall, it's sending you right back out onto the track. So
there's right back onto the racing line.
Yeah, there's obviously a couple racetracks where that does it, and that sucks. Everybody was okay though. You were all right.
Yeah, it was. I was all good. I had a little bit of a headache. There were some other people involved, and I think most everybody turned out perfectly fine from it.
Yeah.
Just wallets were hurting for everybody in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Michelle says that's the real anvil.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. Oh, look at that.
Look at that hair. Is that Morgan? That's Morgan on the left, right?
That's Morgan on the left.
That is some amazing hair. You need to, when we get Morgan in here, we got to reshare this picture because I'm pretty sure it's cut a little bit compared to that now, but that's impressive. And I heard, Jamison, you've got a bit shorter hair than what we're seeing here in the pictures too.
Yeah, I've cut my hair off because as soon as I start working on cars, it gets in my face all the time, and I hate it.
Absolutely.
So I pretty much shave it, almost all of it off.
So what's the Three Amigos sharing trophy there?
So that was Rookie of the Year award.
Yeah.
That basically it was between us three, and they weren't able to decide, so they decided to split it 3 ways with us since we were all good buddies.
Yeah. That's awesome.
They thought that was fitting.
Yep. Yeah, that's an awesome picture.
Speaking of Summit Point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a true picture with pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, that is amazing, man. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. I know a few of those people in that picture just from hanging out with Stevie, and now I'm starting to watch a little bit more sports cars and SCCA stuff than I used to because of it. But I mean, that's crazy how small of a world it is, right? It's just it's a like you said, it's a family down there.
Mm-hmm. Well, half those people came from Wisconsin for that weekend.
Wow.
That was the Majors race in 23 when SMX was kind of introduced into the Major Series.
Okay. Yep.
And that was one of their points races. So Cam Eben, Caleb Patry, Jed Eben, and their dad all came down that weekend. So finally got to meet everybody in real life and see truly how tall Caleb is.
Yeah, he's a big dude. He was at Road America when I went up for the sprints, and we camped close together and stuff. He ran with us in the SCCA league as well. Caleb was quick. Look at that. There's your FE2.
That's the FE2 that is partially working.
Partially.
The last time I drove it,
what'd you qualify at the runoffs with that one, Jamison? You were up front somewhere.
I gotta look that up.
Yeah,
I got no clue. I want to say my dad qualified 4th or 5th. He out qualified me. I did not get I had a quicker lap in me, but again, it's just I didn't.
You
get
wasn't that
quicker
far
lap in me.
behind him. You were definitely top 10 at the runoffs in that car at the VIR.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I really gotta look up. I want to say I was 7th.
Yeah, in his first year there, that was awesome to watch.
It's funny we talk about VIR. That's the wall we're talking about right back in there. I believe that will spit you out. Did you have when you were running VIR? Have you ever had any issues like that, Jamison, as well?
That is actually Summit Point right there.
Oh, it is. That looks.
That is
like
turn 7 and 8 from Summit Point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha. Never mind. I'll shut up now.
Yeah. Yeah. Jamison got mugged in the snake and those S's.
Yeah.
On fairly early at VIR. I remember watching that.
Wow.
Yeah, I got ran off by the car I was side by side with, and it just started a whole kerfuffle of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a shame because I thought you had a really good shot at a top 5 at the runoffs your rookie year there.
I thought I had a good run for me, but it's just how it ended up.
Yep.
We got one more down here too, by the way, Stevie. Jamison was
no.
Jamison was nice enough to get us that picture. So
yeah,
there we go.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I guess I have a question about the FE2 because it's an open wheel car and I love open wheel cars. How is how is that to drive? It has a wing. Does it have much downforce, or is it still mostly like mechanical grip, like a Formula Ford, or?
It has some aero to it. They really don't do a whole lot. You can pretty much run the same time at most tracks, depending on what aerial setup you run. It's really just how you feel.
Gotcha.
In the races, you kind of always do low downforce because then you're really hard to pass.
It's another spec class, Jason, kind of like the Spec Racer Ford. It's a spec class in the Formula cars. So, yeah.
They basically drive like the F4s, just a little bit slower through the corners. That's kind of the best way to put it.
Okay. Very cool.
So in this qualifying session, I'm 4th. I'm trying to find the grid for it.
Oh, for the runoffs. Yeah, that was what 2 or 3 years ago.
It was 2 years ago. It was the 2023 runoffs.
Yep. So how do you rate the sim to real world, and how do you use it best for your advantage?
I really use it to learn tracks. Most tracks you can get a really good idea of at least the line. You can't always get like compression zones and little curbs because some stuff just doesn't have the grip that it does from real life to sim.
Yeah.
Like I can tell you there's a few cheats at VIR that you can do in the real life that kind of work in the sim but nowhere near to the same effect. Like if you like running over turn 4, the inside curbing at turn 4 is drastically faster in real life. It's quicker in sim but not to the extent that you do it in real life, because in real life you're literally over as far as you can. In sim you kind of just hit it a little bit, like halfway up on it. And same for roller coaster, that inside right. You go all the way up on it, and it just pulls you through the corner entirely. Even in the rain, that's just how you do it there. But it is great for learning tracks, and that's what I use it for usually.
Okay.
How is the rain on the sim compared to, driving it out there in the real world?
It's decently close. It really depends on the car and track combo. I haven't done a ton of time in it, but I've done some stuff at Summit, and it feels close-ish. When I was running the F4 in it, it felt like, at least compared to the FE2s, it spun too quick. Like, it lost the rear traction so much. The downforce grip was more than you actually get.
Right.
But the mechanical grip was way too low for what tires are on that car.
Sure.
At least compared to real life, because I can tell you those cars still grip like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Brian
ahead.
also in the chat had a question as well. FE guys seem to run the F1200 on iRacing. What does an FE driver run on iRacing? Obviously, most similar car in your view on iRacing to your FE.
driving style, probably the F4. But one also thing that I've played around is running the Pro Mazda
Mhm.
and putting about like 100 kilos into it and taking away like 5% power.
Right.
Hmm.
And it pretty much handles the exact same as the FE2, it's just a lot quicker.
Sure.
That's interesting. I have to try that.
It definitely gets you a good idea of how quick things come up. If you run it around Summit, the Pro Mazda, it's a lot quicker, but that's roughly how it feels in real life, how quick everything comes up to you
Right.
Mhm.
and how quick all the little movements in the car are.
So, Adam, ask your famous question.
Uh-oh. What's my famous
Where do you
question?
go? Where do you go from here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, Jameson. So, obviously, a younger guy. You're moving up, clearly. Getting some recognition. Where do you go? I mean, big picture. First of all, are you staying? Or do you want to stay in racing? Or do you want to be in racing as a race car driver or something else? And if that is your goal, what are your plans with it? I mean, where do you want to end up? Let's say, big picture.
I mean, kind of right now, my perfect world would be crewing as a mechanic for probably Red Bull or Ferrari.
Wow. Okay.
But that's
Let's go.
very big picture. I really would like to get some time running around at IMSA for events,
Right.
working on cars, because I've always liked wrenching on cars. I like driving too, but wrenching is fun as well for me.
So you're an open wheel guy. I mean, obviously, I know you have an FE, but you're driving obviously driving a Miata around too. So like that's awesome, man. That's the first time I will say, Stevie, of everybody that I've asked, I've never heard of anybody that wants to come out of the SCCA and go work for an F1 team. That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah. And usually you don't hear of drivers that enjoy what we do that want to go wrench primarily.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good. Brian's got another one there.
Yeah.
I was told the only way to pass an FE2 is somewhat of a dive bomb into a tight corner. Is that right?
Not really, but it is effective.
Yeah.
Because again, with those cars, everything happens so quickly. So it's kind of hard to have like a really tight, close racing pack, which is not really what I like about it, because I like that tight, slow racing where you're basically rubbing doors the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I
you don't
kind of
want to
miss
do
that
that
when
in-
I run that car.
Yeah,
You
you don't
do
wanna
it in
that
that
open
car,
wheel.
you're 3 feet in the air as soon as you touch
Yep.
tires.
Launch.
Yep.
Yeah, launch.
There's some give and take with it, but it still makes for really fun racing. But you got to be really crafty on what you do.
Yeah. A lot different racecraft in that versus your SSM.
All right.
yeah.
So, one question here, and this is excuse my denseness, I guess, but FV as in Victor and FE. What is the biggest difference between those two classes?
Power,
That's it.
power, and grip are really big.
Well, you got
Around-
you got wings on the FE2, front and rear, and of course Formula V you don't.
But how much do the wings actually help around in the FE?
Pretty good bit.
Really?
Uh,
Okay.
Compared to running no wings, but as soon as you get like messing with the wings, there's not a ton of difference.
Right.
But no wing to wing is a very big difference. But yeah, and V's power wise, you're sitting in gear and you're just kind of waiting.
Sure. So Jim has brought this question up now twice, and we ducked him the first time. I promise I didn't mean to, Jim. First of all, he's asking why there isn't a picture of your drift car. And second of all, he's asking how much fun is it?
It's a lot of fun. It's a quick car. It gets up and goes. If anybody would like to buy the engine and transmission from it, it is for sale currently.
Oh, well, hey Jim,
Just
there
because,
you go. There you go, Jim.
Just because there is a great idea my father's put in my head of putting either a Ford 302 or a 351 Windsor in that car. So,
And what's go ahead and say what's the basic car?
oh, it's a 01 Miata. It's a little 01 Miata.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the turbo inline 4 is a lot of fun, but man, a V8 sounds really good.
Gonna start. What's that? What did they do? They did that in Tokyo Drift, right? They took a Mustang, but they went the other way with it. He ended up putting I can't remember what he put in it, but it was some type of tuner motor.
RB26.
I think that's what it was.
What
Yeah. Yep. That would be. Could you imagine a Miata with a V8? God, driving down the road and you just hear a gigantic V8 driving by you.
You know what an Austin Healey 3000 is, right?
Oh,
yeah. The old.
I've worked on them.
Yeah. My dad had several, and the last one he had, the guy blew it was the cast iron 3-liter straight 6 Healey engine in it. Pulled that out and dropped the 289 Ford in it. It had the 3-speed automatic, had the T handle shift on it, left the skinny wire wheel tires on it. It was a sleeper, but that was a lot of fun. I got in trouble a few. I got in trouble a few times when I was a senior in high school with that car.
That was going to be my next question. Actually, is how in the hell do you turn something into a drift car? I think Stevie mentioned it with skinny tires, but there's got to be more to it than that. Big old tires, big old fat grippy tires in the front, and what, PVC on the back or what?
So at least my setup wise, I run some all seasons on the front, and I go to Walmart and get $80 Ironmans and throw them on the rear.
Yeah,
and that works pretty good.
That is freaking awesome, man. I love it.
Awesome, cool.
I love it.
Yep. All right. Anything else you want to share with us from your sim or real world racing that we haven't covered tonight yet, Jamison?
I can talk about how I almost ended Morgan's career in turn 3 at Summit Point.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
That was a fun
Get
little
your story this
session.
week, and then we'll have to get Morgan's next week.
Yeah, make sure Morgan doesn't watch this first, and then we'll see exactly how these stories compare.
Yeah. So how did you almost end Morgan's career?
So we did when he did his FE2 race, we were running together, and I mean, we were fighting every corner at Summit Point pretty much.
I remember seeing pictures of that. That was awesome.
It was a very close fight, and I want to say with 2 or 3 laps to go, we were going through turn 3. We've already done this like 15 times at this point, and he slingshotted around the outside, and there's a little bump when you're getting to the apex of turn 3, and I hit it just wrong. So at the apex, Morgan was right on my outside. His rear wheel was like right behind my front wheel, and I was full lock to the right sideways.
Oh.
Like 3 inches away from his rear left wheel.
Oh.
I've got a screenshot of it somewhere. I can try and get it to you so you can pull it up for when Morgan's on here.
Yeah, we'll pull it up for Morgan. That'll be awesome.
I'm sure Morgan was probably, I know you guys are pretty good friends, but were there words exchanged after that?
Oh no, the words were, "Oh my god."
I'm sure that's exactly what you said. But, yeah.
It was a big shock for his mom too, because she was working the starter stand.
Oh yeah.
And she was watching us through turn 3 when that happened.
Oh.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, their whole family's so involved and such a great group of people.
Yeah.
And you and your dad too, Jamison. It was awesome to meet you guys there and both of you so involved in everything and seeing both of you in our leagues and running. I can't tell you how much we appreciate that.
I appreciate you guys for setting it all up. I wouldn't have a league to run without you.
Yeah. Well, I think with that, you got anything else you want to ask him, Adam, JG?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. All right. appreciate you taking time out to join us tonight, Jamison. Really is some good information, some good insight. Going over the highlights from the races this past weekend was great to have you join us. Stay in touch. Love to see you in any of the leagues that we get. If you need anything, you know where I'm at. Don't hesitate to give a shout. And once again, thank you so much. And with that, we can call this one a wrap, guys. What do you think?
Get us out of here.
Yeah.
Hi.
All right. We'll see you next week. Next guest is Morgan Burkhart. With that, we'll call this one a wrap. See you next week, guys.
Bye, guys.
See you next week.
Appreciate your time, Frank. This gentleman has done wonders for sim racing, the real world racers that come into sim racing or go back and forth. Frank's responsible to get some guys out on track. So without further ado, Mr. Frank Swartz, Grass Paddock Motorsports, tell us what you do. What do we call this thing? The Raycing Line. I'm all out of sync. We got more people to deal with this week than what I'm used to. So thanks to my co-host Jason for joining us. Adam's back this week. And as you can see, we got a fourth sitting here. Megan Oversheet is already joining us to help us do some reviews and stuff. So thank you, Megan.
Let's go, Megan.
And help
Good.
us. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, we're just getting ready to review the spec racers, and since we had an announcer in the waiting room, we thought we'd go ahead and bring you in.
Well, thank you very much.
There he is.
Hey, we got him.
Hey, Jason, we got you this time.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
We won't talk about the other thing.
Our special guest for the evening, Mr. Dave Ogburn, and for Dave to introduce you to these two knuckleheads, you got. Great to see you, Thor. Welcome to the fourth chair and the podcast this week.
No, thank you so much for having me. It feels surreal, like finally being able to talk to you guys. You know, I've been in this league for like 2-3 years, and yeah, finally face to face.
Oh.
Yes, our first guest.
Jeff.
You're on the spot now, Jeff. Oh. So, welcome, Mr. Jeff Jacobson. Again, great to have you here. Thanks for taking some time out to join us. We get to some fun part. That's why you're here, Jerry. This is our guest segment after the reviews. So thanks for sitting through with us and
that was fun.
And
thanks.
Yeah, it's some good racing. So, well, first of all, we gotta say thank you to Trenton for taking time to come join us. He's one of the hardest working guys I know, and you can look there in the shop behind him and get an idea of what he does. So as everybody sees, we've got Darren Ganji, and if you didn't know already, he is Mr. Sim Motion, where you can get all your sim rigs and equipment and everything. He's also the sponsor of that league we were just talking about.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Sean Ambrose, we go back forever, back to the very early beginning days of the Weekend Warriors when it was broadcasted on another broadcast, GSRC, I don't mind saying it.
very good to us. And Sean was one of the producers, announcers, always great to talk with.
So, Mr. Edgar Sancinelli, Weekend Warrior, Frito Sport Racing. I don't know what all you do, but great to have you join us tonight, Edgar.
Yes.
I'm not saying shit. Oh, see, I literally. Whatever,
Yeah,
I give up.
there you go.
I know you've had a mute for me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, when you
Yeah.
just for the views when Adam and you were there. I mean, it's
Yeah, it's
jeez.
Oh yeah.